Hello everyone, welcome to an audio commentary. I'm Forbidian, and I'm playing Blue-White Tempo against Stuckpixel playing Merfolk. So, Stuckpixel is a member of the source. He actually messaged me when I asked if people could help me by being like a sparring partner so that I could shoot some good footage. And he's now a Blue-White Tempo player, but he used to play Merfolk, so he's going to help me out by being the Merfolk player. So in this game, I open with 6 spells and an island, and that's not good against any opponent. I didn't have really any blue spells that were that I could cast off just the island, and so I think of that as a forced mulligan. Like, it wasn't a tough decision. I had to mulligan that hand. Okay, so here I've got a second Ether Vial. The reason why I cast it before playing the land is that I actually want my opponent to daze this, and if my opponent thinks that I'm mono-screwed and that, a second Ether Vial would be a big ticket out, then he might daze it in the situation, which is not a good play for him. And then the reason why I lead with I go Plains and then Flooded Strand is so that I can pull a Wayfarer trick if my opponent plays a second land. So Stuckpixel is saying he's a little rusty, he forgot an Ether Vial counter, so, that's fine. You use that as a counter, that's fine. But then he makes kind of a big play mistake. He plays a Standstill, and that's really something you don't want to do if you're Merfolk. Blue-White Tempo, as you'll see, is a lot better under Standstill than you are. And, a lot of people are surprised by this. A lot of Merfolk players do this against me. They'll cast a Standstill, and it's really a bad play if I have a Vial out, or if we both don't have a Vial, either one. Usually your Standstill will not really affect me at all, and then it'll cripple you. So here I go. I pulled the Wayfarer trick, getting a Tundra, and then Wasteland ready. Keep in mind, I couldn't use the Flooded Strand to get another Plains because I have one in my hand. It would have been cool to get another Plains, but whatever. So I draw a Stoneforge Mystic, and Stoneforge Mystic allows me to play an Umezawa's Umezawa's Jite under a Standstill, which basically owns him. So Stuckpixel says before I add a counter, I want to Vial in this creature, and so I tell him, like, why don't you do it at the end step? And he's like, oh yeah, okay. So I guess it's been a while for him since he's played a deck with Vial, which kind of worries me because he says he's gonna play Blue-White Tempo on Wednesday in a tournament, and so hopefully he'll get in some practice time before then, or at least he's sharp or whatever for that tournament. Okay, so I get pinged for 1. I could Vial in a Sarah Avenger to block, but what I really want to do is I want Stoneforge Mystic out. And so if I play the Stoneforge Mystic and then in response he Vials in a Lord of Atlantis, then I lose this, or then Stoneforge Mystic dies, and I really want to have a creature advantage at this point. So I'm not going to Vial in the Sarah Avenger, and then I'm just going to go for the fast Stoneforge Mystic play. Getting a Plains. Okay, so there's no need to put the Vial into play right away. I can just Vial it in with, or I can just use the Stoneforge Mystic's ability. Okay, so he's got a Silvergill Adept, which is nice. I tell him it's card advantage for the win. Which it is. Stoneforge Mystic, or Silvergill Adept's a really good card. Stoneforge Mystic is Blue-White Tempo's analog, and in this case, it's a hell of a lot better because I get, Umezawa's Jite. So he swings me in for 5. I can't block because I have a Tundra. But that's cool. So at his end step, I put in the Sarah Avenger and the Umezawa's Jite. Keep in mind, we're still all playing under Standstill. So we're actually able to both develop our boards really well um, under the standstill. It's just in this case, blue-white tempo um, is doing a lot better than Merfolk is. So he's tapped out, or he's tapped his Ether Vial, so he can't Vial in a Lord in response. And so I just want to kill the Lord immediately. Um, there's no better use for the counters than killing the Lord, so I might as well just do it immediately. Basically, if you can keep him off a Lord, then they're in a lot of trouble. Okay, so my opponent takes his battle to 3. So that means he can no longer violate a Lord of Atlantis. At the very least, he'll have to break his own standstill, and then that'll allow me to sort the plowshares. Um, so the Silvergale Adept is 3-2. And so if I block with the Avenger, I lose my Avenger. And so I don't want to do that right now. I mean, same exact rationale. I want to shoot the Lord right away. There's absolutely no better use than killing a Lord. So keep in mind, if it's a Reach Array, you don't want to do that. You want to save counters so that you can use the Sarah Avenger to block and prevent them from attacking at all. But in this case, it's a Sovereign, so I should shoot it away right away because he's not going to let me block his creature anyway. I think that was a little bit of a mistake. He should have waited until after blockers to vial that in, just to give me as little information as possible. I would probably make the same play, um, no matter what. But, just every little bit you can do to give your opponent less information. So, um, if he waits until blockers and then vials in the Lord. I know that's the worst case scenario, so that's what I prepare for. But, um, in this case, I'm fine. So I'm trading Avenger and Weathered Wayfarer for the Lord, the Mutavault, and the Silvergrill Adept. And so that'll leave me with Stoneforge Mystic and ticking up Umezawa's Jite. Keep in mind my life total is running like a little bit low. So, I kind of wanted to block. And then I didn't think I could find a more favorable trade than that situation. Later in the game. And so if my opponent vials in a Lord, at worst he'll swing me with Curse Catcher. And then I'll be able to get 2 more counters and then shoot him. So there's not much you could do. By the way, I should have played a Tundra last turn. I mean, we're still working under the standstill, and so he can't really play a Lord of Atlantis. And then, I'm not going to be able to use a Wayfarer anyway or anything like that. So it would have been better just to play the Tundra instead of waiting. I don't think it hurts me at all, but it's always better. Okay, so I had kind of a drought going on where I didn't draw any creatures, but I just broke that. I got a Fathom Seer. I mean, it is the worst creature, but it'll do fine for this. So if he swings me with the Curse Catcher, I can vow on the Fathom Seer to block, so I don't have to waste any GT counters. GT counters. Alright, so I blocked the Curse Catcher, pick up some more card advantage. And, I mean, just look at the board. Like, he doesn't really have that many options. So I've got a GT he has to deal with. Even if he draws a Lord every single turn, he's not going to be able to catch up. And so he decides to crack his own standstill and give me, and then resolve an Ether Vial, which is okay. I mean, I should have played out the Tundra, so I should have had Spell Pierce mana up, but I wouldn't have Spell Pierced that anyway. Okay, so I'm going to cut out the rest of the video. I mean, as you can see, I have a pretty dominant board position, so I just win the rest of this game. And then I'll see you for set two in a minute. Thanks for watching, and feel free to send me any feedback you have. Bye bye.